Mikel Arteta, it's not your fault. And this isn't like Goodwill Hunting over here, Ollie. It's really not. But Mikel Arteta, it's not your fault. Since he joined Arsenal Football Club, okay, they've got 61 points, 69, 84, 89. So clear upward trajectory every single season. He's improved that football club. He's improved the squad. Now, it is not Mikel Arteta's job to go out and buy a number 9. It's really not. It's not his fault that Edu, the sporting director, left because he wanted more money elsewhere. It's up to the hierarchy at Arsenal to go and buy the footballers that Mikel Arteta needs and wants. Arteta doesn't have time to be scouting for players. And for Arsenal to go through 2-3 transfer windows now and not go and buy a striker, I think it's not Mikel Arteta's fault. We need to appreciate what Arteta's job is, and that is as head coach. And I also think when you look at this season, what went wrong for Arsenal? Now, I do think there's a big element of luck in this. I mean, Martinelli, Havertz, Saka, that's your forward line, all injured. If that happened to Liverpool, they'd be 6, 8, 10 points worse off. I think if Saka's fit all season, that's another 6 or 8 points easily, Ollie. I think where you could possibly look at Arteta a little bit more, although I'd more look at the players in this instance, is they've received 5 red cards in the Premier League this season. That's more than any other Premier League club. And in those 5 games where they've had red cards, they've dropped 10 points. There's the gap. There's the gap to Liverpool. And a lot of those red cards were stupid decisions by individual players. They're kicking the ball away to stop the restart of the game early on in the Premier League season when the players have been told in the summer that referees were going to clamp down on that. Idiotic. So I think that there's an element of bad luck to Mikel Arteta. I think that where it's really going to sting for him this season is that this should have been Arsenal's season. I mean, it really should have been. The point trajectory going up like this, you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting for Man City to drop off. And the minute they do, you also implode through a combination of bad luck and judgment. So I think that it's not really Mikel Arteta's fault, but it is his responsibility to fix it. And I also think that he's in some ways focused way too much on winning the Premier League title these past 5 years. And if you focus completely on winning the Premier League title and nothing else, and you don't win the Premier League, it starts to look very, very empty. I mean, 5 years, 1 FA Cup. It's not great at all for Arteta. So yeah, I don't think it's his fault, Ollie. I think that if Saka had been fit all season, I think it'd be a different story. But it is 1 FA Cup in 5 years. And I mean, they could still win the Premier League and they'll give it a good go in the Champions League. But with the injuries they've got, it just feels very unlikely. And it was a poor performance against West Ham at the Etihad, at the Emirates. And it's a bad way to kind of lose the title, isn't it, at home against West Ham?
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue that this weekend wasn't the reason. The red card wasn't the reason why they lost to West Ham. It wasn't a great performance. And
but the
injury is an absolute killer at this point. But yeah, I agree with you but we also said, like, this is an Arsenal team that's going to live and die by, like, the raw up and down rollercoaster emotions almost of Mikel Arteta. Everything's fantastic or everything's terrible with Arsenal. And when you have that wave of emotions, it doesn't surprise you that you're then a fairly ill-disciplined side in terms of booking sendings off. And by a mile, they've had more sendings off than anybody else in the Premier League. It all just fits together as a piece of the puzzle. And I wouldn't even say that it's Mikel Arteta's fault that they've had this many red cards. I just think it's the rock and roll style that Arsenal are kind of willing to. And another year, they don't have those sendings off, and they are an extra 10 points better and well ahead of Liverpool in the title race. But it's just the luck. If you're willing to play kind of Russian roulette with the football that you play, then it's fine. Whereas I don't see as many games from Arsenal, like, for instance, Liverpool's dominance over Tottenham in that second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. I don't see many of those from Arsenal, where Liverpool controlled that game so well. There wasn't even a hint that Tottenham were going to find anything in that.